Okay, so cultivating generosity. Deuteronomy 24:14 through 21, Ephesians chapter 6, verses 5 through 9, and 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 17 through 19. Now, Sister Melva, Sister Maggie, I had forgot Sister Melva. I'm glad you popped back up. Good morning, Minister Lakeisha, Prophetess Leggett. I saw you when you came up there. Help me, pray for your deacon. The children of Israel had come through. All right, they had been freed from Egyptian bondage. They are in the wilderness. God has spoken and given his word, and Moses is supposed to give this word to the people. Look, Reverend Wilson, when I got looking at this, I said it's amazing how God will prepare us for what's to come. Okay, because he knows that this land of promise, the land flowing with milk and honey, will be a place that is already inhabited. So he had to have the people ready. And so what had to happen was he had to put laws in place so that people would not be taken advantage of. See, God is so smooth. God is so smart. God is just so infinite in wisdom. So when we get to verse 14, Deacon Wilson right here of Deuteronomy chapter 24, he says, Sister Irene, he says, thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy strangers that are in thy land within thy gates. Look, Cousin Betty, when I began to look at this, I said, now, for God to take out time while the children of Israel are in the wilderness traveling, about to take hold of the land of promise. Look, Helen, let me tell you something. This thing caught me here. He says, thou shalt not oppress. All right, and so this is my mind. This is my thinking. Okay, as the older ones would say, to be sure that they would not even think or have an inkling of an idea of oppressing anyone, being that God has just delivered them, Lord have mercy, from 400 years of oppression. Elaine, happy birthday. I know you're probably celebrating the whole month. It's good to have them birthdays. God bless you. Anyone who has just come out of something, all right, and they had come out, all right, they had come out of this oppression. And look, Pastor Connors, that's why I say all the time, you got to watch us because we can be something sometime. All right. God has had to write a law out to make sure that since they have come out of oppression, they passing this thing down. Now we know eventually as it went on, they ended up wandering around in the wilderness, and everybody that was not 20 years old or younger died in the wilderness outside of Joshua and Caleb because of the complaining and all of this. But all of this was passed down. So he says, thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy. So those who are less fortunate, those who can't do for themselves, God says, you better watch how you handle them. See, Tiana, a lot of times, like children, widows, orphans, people who don't have the way the world just speaks about them. Well, they got to make their own way. They got to see, God never takes that stance. And we gonna slow down. I got to pace myself here. It says, whether he be of thy brethren or of thy stranger. All right, so whether it is someone that is in your camp, or if it is someone who is a stranger, a foreigner, an illegal. Look, they like to throw words, and really, if people would really do a word study, there would be no such thing as an illegal alien. That is just idiotic in its sense to make a statement. Some of us know that, but for the most part, some people can just hear some things and just read it. And I say how idiotic it is to say something like that. It's like an oxymoron. It makes we look. It's good when we hear things, but look, you need to verify. Don't just take my word for it. Good morning, Minister Garnett. All right, so he says, even if they are a stranger, so they are a foreigner, if they come into your land, in your gates, he says, do not oppress them, meaning do not withhold. You got them working for you. Lord have mercy, there's so much we can do right here. All right. So Tanya, what we have to do is just we pay them what they were hired to do, and you pay them fairly. And that's what God is really calling and saying right here. You do things that are fair and across the board. All right, do it fairly. Don't oppress it. Don't withhold anything from them because they are poor or needy or because they don't speak your language. You don't have the right still to withhold that. And see, Lord, this is the thing about it. And Barbara, how God is going to tie this thing together about how all of us were foreigners. All right, and how it was that all of us had a debt that we could not pay. But then, Rosina, through God, through his grace and his mercy, when he sent Jesus, we're gonna tie it together. Just stick with me a few minutes. Okay, so verse 15, he says, at his day, thou shalt give him his hire, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it, lest he cry against thee unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee. Joyce, I said, wait a minute, God. What are you saying here? He says, all right. At that time, they would work, and still people can pick up jobs like that now. They would work, and at the end of the day, they would get paid. And he says it needs to be a fair wage, and you do not need to withhold their wages from them. Pay them that day. Okay, pay them that day. You shall pay them their wages daily before the sun set, because they are poor, and their livelihood depends on it. Their livelihood depends. They ain't just going out working just for play. They going out working because they need what comes behind the work they have put in. They need the money. And so God is saying, do not withhold, and you pay them fairly, and you pay them before the sun sets. Tony, when I was reading it, this is what got me, the last part. All right, they might cry to the Lord against you, and you would incur guilt, or you would be accused of sinning. So that means that God is watching payroll department. Come here, come here. God is concerned if I am or you are not being paid your fair wages for the work that you do. Philip, Pastor Jackson, this thing got me right here. So sometimes when I hear people complaining about them not getting paid a fair wage, I said maybe the prayer should be turned to God, because God already sees that the accounting department, those over the accounting department, are not paying you your worth. So you work somewhere for 25 years, and some young jittybug comes in and they start them out with more than what you are making, and you have been faithful to the job for 25 years. God sees it, and God has his eyes on the accounting. And those who make those decisions about who is going to make what. And so whether a person is a male or a female makes no difference about their race. If they are not being paid a fair wage, and that person cries out to God about it, the one that was able to make the decision about what that person was making has fallen into sin. Mr. Weston, I didn't make it up. It's right here in the text. It says, pay the person before the sun goes down, for he is poor, and setteth his heart upon it. So Spurley is saying, look, they need that money. And you sitting there gambling and playing with people's money. Lord have mercy. I could really open our eyes to see and show us how our money is being played with, about how one person, 2 or 3 people can get on the camera and say this or say that. And your 401k money can either go up, it can either go down. Gas can either go up or gas can, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't think that God has his eyes on it, and if you don't think when God gets sick of it, there's going to be some folk that's going to be moved out of the way, because his word is not a lie, and it's going to do what he said it was going to do. He said, unless he cry unto the Lord, and it be sin unto thee. Last time I checked, the wages of sin is death. All right, and so they're going to be deaf to some things. I'm not saying to the person, but it could be to their position. It could be because of the decision making that they are doing. God's saying, just be fair to everybody. Why do you want this person to come in and they doing the same job as this person here? They have the same exact pedigree. All right. But then you want to pay him more and pay her less because she a woman. What in the world sense do that make? There's a demographic I got to stick here. I'm telling you, this right here could be this could be a month of teaching just right here in Deuteronomy, how the way God set this thing up, the way that it should be, so that it could be and it should be fair, and how some people will get on their high horse and get this this thing of arrogancy, and it's God said, I don't play that. I'm gonna tell you, I see it, and if that person is hurting and you are the cause of that person because you are not being paid a fair wage, and it is for no reason at all, because of your gender, because of what you talk like, and they hired you. They ain't had no problem hiring you. If they ain't had no problem hiring you, what in the world they got a problem paying you the same way that... So I think this is what upsets me. Prophet Leggett, I think this is what upsets me. That people insult God's intelligence like God does not know what they doing. what we doing. Like I mean that's the thing that Jen, I think that's the real thing that really gets down into me. Like God is some dummy or something. He knows the very intents of our heart. He knew the intent of the children of Israel once they got there. He knew that they would start to acting high-minded. And once I had given, listen now, once the Lord had given them the land, now it won't even there, the Lord gave it to them. And then they gonna try to come in there and try to say, I'm gonna oppress you and you ain't gonna get paid today. Come on. If the Lord would give us the strength to go out to these jobs and work, and then we think we gonna sit there and say, no, you ain't gonna get as much as that. You better pray for God's grace and mercy, because if he don't give us the strength to go out and do it, we will no longer be able to do it. All right. Verse 16. All right. He says, the fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. All right. Do you see? Now, don't think it is by coincidence that God said when a person does not pay, Cousin Sherry, they don't pay them at the end of the day, they oppress them. And he said if that person cries out against them, then that person is going to be guilty of sin. The very next line, he said the fathers shall not be put to death for their children. Now let's keep this in context. He is talking about this is this generational thing. All right. Even though there is some validity in some of it. Look, Lena, Cousin Faith, God, he cut that off. He cut that off when he sent Jesus to die on the cross. But now I'm going to tell you, there still be some things that linger on. How, you might have some ways of your mama, your daddy, all right, that goes without saying. But he is saying, because of what your daddy did, all right, because of what your child did, Mr. Neely's saying, that person is not going to be guilty of the sin of what their father or what their child did. Let me make this clear. Thank you, Holy Spirit. If I got a gun in the house and I do not secure that weapon, and my child takes that gun off the coffee table and take it out to the schoolhouse, then I had a part to play. Now, I ain't talking about that. Now, see, Dorothy, we got to make sure now, because I know, I got a good class. And y'all supposed to be thinking about stuff like that. I know y'all are. That's why I went on and asked that. I'm giving y'all the best class in the world. But he says, the father shall not be put to death for the children. Neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Look, Reverend Julia, he said, every tub gonna have to stand on its own bottom. That's what he's saying. You gonna be, and I hear, you gonna be accountable. Let's go. And so he says, every man shall be put to death for his own sin. See, all this stuff about people blaming such and such because you won't hear from me, because they didn't do this, because they didn't do that. God, away with that. Away with that. Yeah. None of us had anything to do with the family that we were born in. We were just born into it. Now you got to work with what you got. And I'm sorry, excuses ain't gonna pass. They are not going to pass. You just got to do the best you can. Look, some come up in a better situation. Others come up in just terrible, and it just breaks your heart, the kind of situation, the kind of environment that they are in. But we're still trying to cultivate this generosity. Because the source of the generosity is God. We are not the source of the generosity that we have. And so we have to be held accountable for the things that we do. All right. Verse 17. Thou shalt not pervert the judgment of the stranger, nor of the fatherless, nor take a widow's raiment to pledge. He says, you shall not deprive a resident alien. This is the New Revised Standard Version. Or an orphan of justice. You cannot deprive them. You cannot be unjustly just because they, and it would be just like this. Just like if all Americans were to go over where Jesus walked, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, Israel. If all us went over there, nobody over there would understand what we are saying. If Jesus wouldn't be God himself and be able to know everything, he wouldn't be able to understand what we say because he spoke in Arabic. Now, I really want us to see this. And what he's saying is that they would have to do us just as the next person. So if you're dealing with, even on our jobs, if this person don't come in and they get rolled up, then when I come in, it's got to be fair and across the board. You shall not pervert the judgment just because they are a stranger, just because they speak a different language, just because they look different. You cannot treat them any different than you treat anybody else. I'm going to tell you what the danger in that is that you reap what you sow. Now you start sowing that, and now you mess around and you'll start getting that back. Because what if God, through his grace and his mercy, pulls it back and lets you reap, let me reap what I have sown by treating somebody different because they're not a man, because they're a woman, because they look different than me, because they talk different than me, and I treat them unjustly, just like I'm supposed to treat them just like I would treat anybody else. He says, don't try and pervert. Look, hey, y'all, bro. Hey, Sister Betty. He says, don't pervert it. Do not deprive a person of the justice that is due unto them. You are to do justly, to walk humbly. See, that's what Micah tells us to do. He said, don't you deprive them of judgment, the strangers, the fatherless, nor a widow's raiment to pledge. See, I'm going to tell you what that is. If a person, a woman, in that time, and probably still in that time, over there around Jerusalem and stuff like that, when it came to the raiment of a woman, if she borrowed something, you would hold a piece of her clothing for collateral. That's what that equaled up to. You were holding that for collateral until she could pay you back. But what it's saying is, you still got to do judgment. If it's going to get cold at night, you give her the raiment back, because she does not need to be cold and freeze to death. Now she give it back to you that next day, but now you don't take it and do unjustly and not give it back to a sin that she is already in need. All right, verse 18. But thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. Therefore I command thee to do this thing. Crystal, God saying, in so many words, don't forget where you came from. He said, remember when you was a slave in Egypt and you couldn't help yourself. There was nothing you could do. That's what God is saying. There was nothing you could do. And look, and God is saying, look what I did. I came in and I delivered you. I delivered you out. He said, now, if I did that for you, why wouldn't you do it for someone else? But thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee thence. He redeemed them, set them free. He says, therefore I command thee to do this thing. Miss Dorothy, he said, look, I've done that for you. That's the least you can do, to treat one another fairly. He said, really, you didn't even deserve. Look at all the complaining, murmuring you were doing in Egypt. You really didn't even deserve to be redeemed, to be set free. And guess what? I did it anyway. And because of that I done for you, you mean to tell me you are going to look at another person who is made in my image and you going to treat them unjustly? Verse 19. He says, when thou cuttest down thine harvest in the field and hast forgot a sheaf in the field, thou shalt not go again to fetch it. It shall be for the stranger and the fatherless and for the widow, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hands. Let's moonwalk it back. So God says, you are actually the master of your blessing. You are actually the decision maker if you're going to be blessed or not. And that's what God's saying. He said, it's not if I want to bless you. It's if you're going to be in the posture to be blessed. He said, now in order for you to be in the posture to be blessed, he said, when you cut your harvest down in the field, Mildred, check this out. He said, and you forget some that you done cut down, you got it wrapped up, it's ready to go. He said, and you forgot it. He says, don't go back out there and get it. He said, leave it out there. Leave it out there, but God, you told me to be a good steward of what you have entrusted my hands to do. He said, leave it out there. Don't go back and get it. He said, it shall be for the stranger. It's going to be for the foreigner. Let them, that's right. That's right. I hear you, Lord. Let them go in your field. God Almighty. On your property. Lord, have mercy. Be done lost 3/4 of people right there. They coming in I bet they better not. Some people don't even want nobody to turn around in their driveway. God Almighty. And what if God wouldn't let us turn around in His? Lord, have mercy. It's easy. It's easy when we sit back and think about it. It is easy to see why the world is in the shape that it's in. It really is. Because we're going to either do it God's way or it's going to be the hard way. And that's why it's getting hard, because it is not being done God's way. It's not. And I'm telling you, you can say when this stop, this right here going to get better. When this stop, no, I'm going to tell you when it's going to get better. If my people, which are called by my name, would pray, humble themselves, turn away from their sins. He said, and when you do all that stuff, he said, then will I hear from heaven. He said, and forgive their sins. He said, when you leave it, he said, if you leave it, don't go back and get it. You remember that I couldn't carry all this at the same time. So I had to leave all that out there. God said, if you trust me enough and leave it and let the foreigner come and get it, I'm going to bless you beyond measure. But the problem is sometimes we say this is mine and nobody else better not come on my property and you better stay away. And this is what happens. All right. He said it's going to be for the stranger, the fatherless, and for the widow. Chris, Sonia, I've seen this happen. I've seen people And right around here, this year, got a lot of sweet potatoes. They set them out. All right. They go through. They have the workers that go through and pick them up. Now, that's hard work. If you don't think a bucket of potatoes is heavy and you doing that all day, that's why when I go by, sometimes I be blowing the horn and just waving at them. Because Cousin Glenda, I salute them. God, I'm talking about I honor them, I salute, because that is back-breaking work. I'm telling you, and they get out there and do it every day. I'm talking about go out there and get it. And I have nothing but the highest respect for them. And sometimes before they pick up the last potato, they have a tractor sitting in the corner. And they'll take that tractor and they'll disc up every bit of it. So that nobody, Julia, they'll do it so that nobody can come and pick up nothing. That disc it right in the ground. Ain't nobody getting none of it. Now they done got all that they needed to get. That they have that's going to be set for the market. That's going to be set on a container and go across the water thousands of miles. They ain't going to do nothing else with it. And we'll put a tractor in the field and disc and destroy every bit of it so nobody else can touch it. And then wonder why. Say, I don't know what happened, but I thought I had my stuff sold. But now that market cross seas, there ain't no trade now, so I can't sell it. Let's come back full circle. We are the ones that control our blessing. Could it be that cousin ma'am, I think about this. I said, could it be if you wouldn't have dissed them in a minute after you got the last one that you needed and allowed someone to come and pick up those around the corners, that God would have let the market stay open so that you could sell yours the next year, and now they sitting in a silo somewhere. Your soybeans are sitting there rotting. Now to me, it's just simple. It's just that's why I thank God. Like, you know, my mom, my dad, they plant a garden. It might be okra, might be squash, whatever. They coming off so much. Go to the church. Hey, y'all, when y'all walk out, they're gonna be some squash or something in a basket. They food line bags. Just get just as much you want. Just, you know, why throw it to the hogs? Well, I didn't make this up. This is what God said. I'm just the mailman. I'm okay. He says that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand. He said, now if you just do that, he says, everything you apply your hands to do, he says, I'm going to bless it. Naomi, he said, now, don't go back and get, look, when that corn, them peas, whatever it is that's left in that field, he said, don't go back and get it when you remember that it is left. He said, don't go back and get it. When you remember that you left it, he said, just leave it so that the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow can come and get it. They can get it. He said, if you do that, then everything that you apply your hands to do, he says, I will bless it. People just cutting their blessings off. They just cutting them off. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people, they just stingy. Miss Net, they just stingy, and therefore, they will always be trying to make the next step. They always, because they can't see that if you give, Lord have mercy, the Lord will have blessings running you down and overtaking you. Lord have mercy. I knew we weren't going to get it all, but that's all I had to do what the Lord said. When we know better, we do better. Verse 20. When thou beatest thine olive tree, thou shalt not go over the boughs again. It shall be for the stranger, for the fatherless, and for the widow. There we go. He said, you done got it from the olive tree. So just leave it alone. Hey, Miss Betty, that's a good point. I mean, sometimes people that they won't dare give you anything, and they got it left. They got it left. Pastor Anderson, Genesis, it's just I watch Pastor Farrah, God bless you, read a memorial. How they just be a blessing to those who are in need, even growing gardens at the church and different things like that, and then helping out people who don't have water, and I mean, even if it's in another country, I mean, just reaching out. But see, when we do things like that, we can't help but be blessed. Some people want to rake it in, and keep a closed fist. There ain't nothing going out. Now there ain't nothing coming in. That's just the way this thing works. There is no way for us to expect that God is going to bless the work of our hands, and we won't do just the simple things that He have asked us to do. You got enough. You got all you can. Give it away. Give it away. Got stuff in your closet? Lord have mercy. Got it in 3 closets. And see that young lady, you see she done wore the same outfit 3 times in a row. You got stuff in your closet. Give it away. You see she needs something. That's it. Look, we can't exist by ourselves. Lord have mercy. We need one another. We need each other. And God says, when you do it my way, whatever you apply your hands to do, He said, baby, he said, I got you. He said, you just going to be blessed. And see, that's why, and look, I'm going to tell you, there's some people that's going to be upset. They're going to get jealous and everything, that God blesses what you put your hands to do. But baby, you just in the blessing plan. You are a giver. If you see where you can help, you helping, you extend, you doing all of that kind of stuff. And so when you do it, God is just blessing the work of your hands. And Edward, they don't see it, but that's just the way it is. Verse 21, when thou gatherest the grapes of thy vineyard, thou shalt not glean it afterwards. It shall be for the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow. He said, look, when you get it, look, you have done got your portion. You got it. Leave it for those who are less fortunate, those who need it, those who can use it. All right, let's go over to Ephesians chapter 6, verses 5 through 9. He said, servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling and singleness of your heart, as unto Christ. Let's talk a little bit about this employer-employee relationship and how this thing is supposed to work. Lord have mercy. Help us, Paul. See, when a lot of people see servants, and see, people are hijack the word. They'll say, God says slavery is all right. No, I mean, I'm sorry. They're just illiterate when it comes to the things of God. God bless their heart. We pray that God will touch them and open up their minds. You got to think about where they were at this time and why it was written the way that it was written. All right, so servants, I'm back. Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters. All right. So when we go on a job, we have a supervisor, we have a manager, whatever, because don't worry, it's gonna work both ways. It's gonna turn around. Nobody's gonna be left out. Just as we are obedient to Christ, we are supposed to be obedient unto them, as long as it does not make us fall out of the grace of God by doing something that is contrary to God's will. Now, that goes without saying. So servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh. All right, so that's in the flesh. Go to my job. I'm supposed to do a good day's work. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm supposed to do. All right. With fear and trembling and singleness of your heart. All right, so I mean, I applied for the job. Look, I am supposed to do what I am called to do, what I am told to do. My job requirements, they were laid out. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what we are supposed to do. That's what he's saying. Not with eye service as men pleasers, but as the servants of Christ doing the will of God from the heart. So he's saying now, don't be beating around the bush and all that, and then when the boss come around, then you're trying to do something different. And then everybody trying to look and say, where was all this the rest of the week? You won't beating on them keys like that for the owner walked in. Why are you doing it now? Not with eye service. No. You don't do it just for looks. So all right, I'm an usher. So if I walk by and see a piece of paper on the floor and nobody's in the church, I'm supposed to pick it up. Minister Tika, I shouldn't just walk by and pick it up because somebody else is standing there and they see it. And they say, look, he's such a good usher. You see how he saw a need right there and he just met it? What if no one else is standing around? See, it's not supposed to be just for eye service. You do this as we are doing it unto the Lord. So we do it. That's why it's just automatic. I can be walking. I was walking in the office the other day and saw a piece of paper on the floor and won't nobody in there but me. I just unlocked the office, just disarm. Just pick. It's just nobody there to see it. That's fine. God saw it. Why let it sit there? Why walk by it all day? Just pick it up. So not with eye service as men pleasers, trying to just please men. You know how it is. Trying to get on the boss's good side and all this other kind of stuff. There you go. With have some integrity. Yeah, yes. Do a good day's work as you are doing it, because, and see, this is it right here. Because all of us are servants to Christ. Every one of us. Makes no difference. Watch this. With good will doing service as to the Lord and not to men. We are doing it, whether we're doing it, operating in our position or whatever that God has called us to do in the church. It makes no difference. We are to do the same thing, even on our regular job, with goodwill doing service. It should just be our nature to do it. All right. Do it as to the Lord and not unto men. Because if you do it unto the Lord, then men will see and you will gain the trust, the respect. You will be noticed for that because you have done it unto the Lord. Then the Lord will touch their heart. And then you will see the blessings down here. Verse 8 of Ephesians chapter 6. Knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free. See, that's it. See, a person does well. All right, God is good. Here it is right here. Thank you, Holy Spirit. If a person does well, God is just going to bless him. He said, I'm going to bless the work of your hand. It does not matter if you are a man or a woman. It does not matter what language you speak. God says, I'm just going to bless it because that's what I said I was going to do. Okay? And so if God does that, God is saying, if I do the same for you, then you should do the same for others. You shouldn't be withholding. You should not be perverting any type judgment, any type justice. You have to do the same thing because I'm doing the same thing for you. And ye masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing threatening, knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of persons with him. No respect of persons anywhere. Masters, do the same way to them. Any person who is of authority should not be threatening anyone that they are over. When the last time God threatened you? God just tell us what to do. And we don't do it. We just don't do it. But now we're going to have to handle the consequences. But God ain't sitting here throwing out threats. Now, it's a promise what God said he going to do. So he said, don't be throwing out threats because you are in a place of authority. Do you realize that that person is made in the image of God? And God don't respect you no more than he respect him or her? He says, for you know that both of you have the same Lord in heaven. And God is going to be absolutely straight across the board. And so it won't matter either way. So we have to treat everyone the same. Treat everybody fairly. Let me say it that way. Treat everybody fairly. It's just like, like if if me and Pastor Farrah, get to talking and joking around with one another back and forth. See, the way we be cutting one another. See, you might can't handle that. It might offend you, but now it's all right. So you can't treat everybody the same. So I retract that statement. But we can treat everybody fair. Everybody on a level playing field. So we are trying to, if we're gonna cultivate this generosity, if we just do it the way God has called and told us to do it, I'm telling you, it will work out. Now, as from the world stance, it is not gonna look like that is going to work. But now I'm going to tell you, when we try to do it our way and we try to hoard, because that's that word. If we try to hoard in everything, just hoarders, we can't be in line or in place to receive the blessings that God has for us. We got to do it God's way. Just a word about 1 Timothy, and we just get out of here. Charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. It doesn't matter. Now, in the world, a person who's rich, they're powerful. All that. But that doesn't mean anything as far as to God. God tells us to charge them that are rich in the world, that they do not be arrogant, high-minded, because they can see it and then just go get it. He said, you charge them that they don't do that, Timothy. That's what Paul was telling Timothy, that he had to preach to them. Charge them that they be not high-minded, because the same God that blessed them with that is the same God that can take every bit of it away. Or if God would take their health away, and then all the money in the world couldn't fix it, and they would trade it in a hot minute to get their health back. So we have to, Tiffany, we just have to do it the way God has said it. He said that they do good, that they be rich in good works. He said, even forget the money. He said, or the things that they hold near and dear. He said, be rich in good works, in the good that you do. He said, be rich in doing good toward others. He said, be ready to distribute, willing to communicate. Don't act like you're somebody that's just so big and so, you just can't come down to us, the little people and all. God said you need to be rich in good works, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come. He said, because there will be a time to come. Apostle Becton, it makes no difference how much stuff down here that I accumulate. I'm going to tell you, I better have something to stand against the time to come. And if I was just rich in money and not rich in good works and reaching out to others, then when it came for that time to come, and I had not laid up good works, communicating, doing well, trying to do good towards others, I am in poverty. I am poor, because I will have nothing to stand against the time to come, because I don't have Jesus in my heart. I'm not reaching out to others. I'm not helping, and therefore I'm in last place. I'm just out. All right. That's enough.